Hey, what's up YouTube? Sky Badger here, and we are back on a very early day 3. The game has progressed as we expected so far. We're making progress in Mozambique, and it's just a good time to look at how the world is progressing as the game goes on. So as you can see, Germany has fought his way into the lead on 97 points, but being dead center in Europe, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how he develops allies, considering he is fighting 3 other countries in the area to help defend France. In terms of other players in the leaderboards, there isn't really that much difference. Germany seems to be the only player, other than actually this guy here, who has directly fought another player. Now, that's why they have so many points, but it also weakens them quite a bit. If we have a look at the most advanced nations of the world, we can see that some people are up at 4%. A little surprised at this point. Most people would be down around 2%, especially if you research all the quick stuff. So, we know what I'm thinking. Anyway, so like I said, it's a good time to have a look around the world and see how things are progressing. So I've already got morale map turned on, because I don't know why people don't play with morale map. So we can see where conflicts have been happening and where the fighting has been relatively easy. So, just by skimming over the world and having a look at certain areas, we can see very quickly all of these darker spots that aren't green, and we can easily see that Korea has jumped into Japan. Japan's in a bit of a pickle now, and it's going to be pretty hard to fight that off considering they're now on the main island. Coming up here, we can see that this land here is slowly falling and will soon be in control of this player here. There isn't much more to say in the Asia area. In fact, it's been pretty tame considering it's Asia. Like, I have to admit, like, I'm pretty surprised by how little is happening. Maybe they're just building up some allies and doing some coalition stuff. So if we come across here and we get more into Russia, we can see that there has been a bit more fighting and quite a bit more growth. We can see that some strong players are emerging here, and it'll be interesting to see what happens going forwards. But now we come over to the mess that is Europe. This is kind of what I expected Asia and Russia to look like, so it is interesting. As we can see down here, Italy has pushed up into France and has claimed quite a bit of France, but at the same time Greece has pushed into Italy and has claimed quite a bit of Italy. So it will be interesting to see how this carries on going forwards. It's also interesting to note that Spain has attacked Italy, which I don't have the intel on, but could suggest that he is allied with France. So in terms of what's happening here, I know Great Britain is attacking France, Italy is attacking France, but I don't know what's happening around other relationships. I know Germany is in defense of France, but I'm not sure how much he's throwing in. We can see he's captured some land down here, but he must have devoted a lot of his forces this way in order to capture this territory successfully. Down here we can see there's quite a bit of mess, and there must have been some pretty recent fighting. So if we have a look at what's been happening, we can see that it is quite a mess. We can see that Poland, was it? Yeah, Poland controls some land down here, yet he doesn't control much of his core. I don't expect Poland to be in the game much more longer. Yugoslavia has done a bit of expanding and is slowly growing as well. In North Africa, we see that there has been a lot of fighting, and this is our second place player here. I'm pretty sure it was a third. We'll find out when we look in the newspaper. Our third place player, DF Pilot, has done quite a bit of expanding, and him and his ally, well, I'm not sure if they're allies, Volta, have completely crushed French Sudan, which was in the middle. Feel sorry for him, I've seen that happen before as well. So that's what's happening up there. If we move over down here, we can see that in South America there is quite a bit of fighting going on, and it's just what we'd expect. South Argentina has pushed this way and is taking out AI Chile. I'm pretty sure that's Chile. Yep, Chile. My geography is not too great. And it won't be long until all of that is consumed. It looks like there hasn't been much fighting in between players in this region at the moment, although it does look like Peru might be taking a beating from Colombia. Apart from that, it looks like it's mostly just player on AI action. Coming up here, we can see that not much progress has been made. It appears that South Mexico is doing a little bit of a push down into Central America, but it appears that so is the Caribbean. Or is that the Caribbean's core territory? Nah, the Caribbean's moving in there. So With that being said, we can see that he's also pushing a little bit up north, although taking on these two areas at once, even if one of them is an AI, will stretch his forces thin, and it's likely North Mexico, as long as he doesn't get attacked by California or Texas along this border, should be able to hold back and even push back. Coming into North America, we can see that there has been a little bit of infighting beyond players, but it isn't really that bad. It looks like it's mostly been AIs consumed, but I'm not sure if this up here is that Ontario? No, Virginia. So it looks like Virginia, which is an AI, has taken a bit of a beating, and it appears that Kentucky is the only playable person, even though it's a computer player, that has been attacked. So relatively peaceful up here. It'll be interesting to see how things go going forwards. So if we come over to back where we started, in terms of building, as you can see, we're starting to upgrade some industrial complexes, and we're not really actually building too many troops at the moment. We're waiting for our light tank research to complete, and then we can start full production of that. Once we get production of light tanks rolling, we should be able to speed up our progress in South Africa. So as you can see, I've researched Interceptor as well, and the reason I need to get to Interceptor is so we can start to build anti-air. Anti-air is really important, guys, and you really need to make sure you build it. A lot of players in this game will have strong air forces, and as time goes on, having anti-air protection is vital. It will deter your enemies from using air against you, and that will slow them down a lot. So with that being said, this has been a very quick world overview on day 3. As you can see, if we go into game info, we can see that it's relatively still pretty early on. So we're back on day 3, and I thought I'd show you guys a little bit of action that's happening down here. As you can see, one of our allies and player we've played with in the past, Lord Keck, has decided he is going to invade South India. It looks like he's going to get a jump on it here, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It'll be also interesting to note that he has completed his first submarine. So with that said, it does look like he's going to get a bit of a surprise attack through here and be able to breach into here. It looks as though South India has positioned a lot of his troops up along this border, and he probably has some stationed along here as well to defend from this player. It would appear that Lord Keck has taken a bit of a gamble in the fact that he hasn't left too many troops back. It does appear that he has moved some troops over to here, and that would probably just merely to discourage Tibet from carrying on down. From looking at these combats, I have a suspicion about how they're going to play out. Initially, Lord Keck is going to get the jump on this one here. He should go in, and he should be able to win this. With infantry being able to attack with 2, and he having 4, he will be attacking with 8, and South India will only be defending with 6. But as soon as this unit here comes in and gets involved, then all of a sudden it shifts slightly, and then once this unit gets back in, it should flip slightly back into Lord Keck's favour. But due to the randomness of the game, it is extremely plausible that South India could win this combat, and that's why it is really important that Lord Keck gets through here as well. If he gets through to here, he has so many more options in terms of where he can split his troops. Because there is no air force yet in the game, it is entirely possible that once he gets through to here, he could very easily split his troops and go in 2 directions. And that would be a massive problem for South India if he has all of his troops along his border. So looking at this combat here, it's going to be another close one. I suspect this one will play more in favour of South India, and I suspect he will probably win this. As we can see, he has an armoured car in his stack, and armoured cars are very effective on planes, and that will provide him a massive advantage with the fact that his armoured car will be defending with 3, along with the fact that infantry is horrible at attacking armour. I think this battle here, although Lord Keck has numbers, will definitely fall very easily towards South India. Now this battle down here is practically the opposite for the same reason. Because Lord Keck has an armoured car and he's attacking infantry on a plane, he's going to get the armoured car advantage and will be a lot more efficient in fighting. I do believe that this combat here will fall and in a Lord Kek victory. From here though, it's a little hard to say what would be the best path of action. You'd either have to cut back a long way if South India decides to push through that victory, or he could cut up and behind and chase it back, but that never ends well and will be pretty slow. I think his best bet here is if he sends this unit down to guard this point. It looks like this point here is going to be a bit of a weak point for him, especially if he loses this combat, because it does appear at this point as though he will win here, here, and here, but lose here. And that means he has a massive hole in his front, and South India will be able to exploit that. So it will be interesting to see what happens. Although Lord Kek should come out in the bad position, it will be interesting to see how this follows in the next few days. So I'll see you guys in the next episode, which could be a couple of days from now. I don't know. I'll see how much time I have.